to put an effective price on carbon and tax the windfall profits of fossil fuel companies. And by COP29, we need early movers to go from exploring to implementing solidarity levies on sections such as shipping, aviation and fossil fuel extraction to help fund climate action.
Well, for more on this, I'm now joined by climate specialist Durwood Zaelke from Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. Thank you very much for joining us. What do you make of the UN chief's proposal to now tax fossil fuel companies, saying they're the ones to blame?
The Secretary General always gives a compelling and motivating speech. Today was no exception. And he had some very good ideas in the speech, including the tax. So we are paying a tax right now in terms of climate impacts, and we should shift that to the causes of climate change, the fossil fuel industry and others who contribute to other climate pollutants like methane, hydrofluorocarbons, black carbon, and tropospheric ozone. Don't want to forget those either.
Interesting that he was focusing more on the companies than countries.
The companies are the ones who ultimately have to change their behavior. And the countries have proven somewhat impotent through their negotiations under the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, which has gone on for 30 years. And we are now approaching the 29th meeting as we come up to the next one in just a few months. And during that 30-year period, we've seen fossil fuel emissions go up by 50%. So this is not an effective agreement, and the private companies need to be held to account through taxes, through regulatory measures, through liability provisions that can be linked to the loss and damage that countries are suffering. And there are many, many lawsuits around the world trying to hold fossil fuel companies to account. We're able to measure their pollution better and better. And we can see that they're underreporting not just the CO2 emissions, but also the methane emissions. And the methane emissions are hugely important. The Secretary General in speeches in the past has said, the world is moving from global warming to global boiling. Well, the reason that's true is that methane is a blowtorch that's pushing us faster into the boiling world. And if we want to slow warming in the near term, which we absolutely must, we need to turn off that blowtorch, much of which comes from the fossil fuel industry. Remember that so-called natural gas, which is fossil gas, is 90% methane, one of the super climate pollutants. Got to shut that down immediately.
OK, Durwood Zaelke joining us from Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. Thank you very much for your insight as ever.